What is up, everyone? This is Coach Austin and comes to you from Hyper Strength and Conditioning with your Nerdout and Workout podcast, where we nerd out, work out, and podcast and level up your life. And we're going to nerd out about all the things. And today I'm joined with our resident videographer, editor, media guy, Mango, Adrian Ricalde.
What's up? How you doing?
AKA Mango. He used to be part of the Mango Kings. He was their bass, their vocalist, and their manager. I'm just kidding. No.
I don't know about the last part, though.
He was the bass.
I was the bass, and he sang every so often.
He was getting all the girls.
In the video. Just the video.
And today, ladies and gents, we're going to be nerding out about VR, the experience of hyperreality, and the what was it? The surgence and the growth of all these what do you want to call them? Like these VR arcade.
Is that kind of arcade? Yeah.
It's like a hyper reality arcade thing.
I think arcade would be the closest name we can give them, because I mean, it's a facility, yeah, but it's also an arcade, because depending which one, sometimes they have multiple games in there.
That's true.
So I'm not for arcade. I think arcade works.
We're going to be talking about the Void and how it compares to Spaces. Yes. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, there's these companies now. They have these little pop-up, not even pop-up, these little arenas.
It's
arenas.
Like a baby room kiosk kind of thing.
Yeah, and like the Void has the Star Wars hyper reality experience where you're a rebel disguised as a stormtrooper.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys. Long story short, if you guys are wondering, you're basically, you're a stormtrooper and you put on these VR goggles and you put on a vest and you have like guns and you can like look at your hands, and it's pretty cool. It's a real crazy experience. You're walking through these obstacles, and that's the Void. And very similar experience to Spaces. We actually, Adrian and I just got done doing an experience with Terminator, a Terminator Salvation themed game. Yeah. And they invited us out for free to try it out because they're opening one in San Jose Oak Ridge Mall, Westfield Oak Ridge Mall. So we tried that out too, and we're going to compare the two and talk to you about our experiences. If you are interested in doing one of these, we can let you know the ins and outs. So, Mango.
Yes.
Could you elaborate on your experience with the Void?
Sure. I went to the Void in Anaheim at Disneyland. I think I was there like opening weekend. Had some hookups with my friend. It was pretty fun. Like, everything was pretty smooth.
Like a special friend?
Nah.
Sad. Thought I was gonna get something juicy.
Yeah.
So a friend hooked you up.
A friend hooked us up, and then it was a very streamlined experience. Like they seemed like everyone knows what they're doing. Definitely wasn't. I mean, comparatively speaking, since we're talking about Spaces, it definitely wasn't as like the workers there. They won't like handhold you as much as they did at Spaces. Yeah, it's kind of going off what you said too. You go inside, you put on a vest, helmet, a gun, and then they kind of brief you. It's kind of like laser tag ish, but then the moment you put on the goggles, it becomes from like a dark room to, oh my god, I'm on a starship troop, or I'm on a starship.
Yeah.
Even to the point where you leave the starship, again, spoiler alert, you're on a little platform crossing over lava, and it comes to that point where it feels like you're actually moving, and then you feel the heat. That
was the trippy part.
That kind of scared me.
Yeah, I did the Void too, and I did it with my dad. It was so funny, because the beginning, like there's no, we're not gonna go over crazy spoilers, but there is some parts we're gonna talk about in the flow of the games. So there's one flow of the game where you have to cross that little bridge from the ship to the platform, or the platform to the ship.
Right.
Or the ship to the platform, and then there's this little bridgeway, right? And then it's like really small. It's like
a foot. It
was like 2 feet apart.
Yeah, tops.
Like you would have to balance, right? And mind you, in reality, you're kind of in this room already, right? It's like you're in a big room, but in the hyper reality with the goggles on, it looks like there's only
2 feet.
There's only 2 feet of bridge that you need to get across over lava you're departing the starship into a platform. So, of course, you're looking at it like, whoa, your body's already telling you, like, oh, my God, you got to balance out. And so I was bouncing, And then my dad, when I look back, my brother went through, my mom made it through. I look back at my dad, and you see this stormtrooper kind of like hanging onto the starship, and he's like putting his leg out, like just tapping the thing. And I'm like, Dad, just go over the bridge. It's not real. Like, there's no bridge. You can just go. And he's like, I don't know, man. That's a lot. That's a big way down, man. Because he's like, I feel the heat. I can feel the heat. I was like, Dad, it's VR. Just go across. You'll be fine.
The VR is dangerous like that.
And then he jumped across. Like, Dad, you don't. Okay, that's fine. I guess the VR is doing its job because my dad totally thinks he's in outer space right now. But yes,
it does go.
I don't know. Did I tell you that story?
I think you did.
Yeah. So yeah, my dad. That was only the beginning part. Yeah. So go ahead, carry on.
Yeah, and then I'm not trying to do like a bunch of spoilers, but what's nice about the Void is also that there are things you can actually touch, as far as like props in the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking about this later with spaces. It's actually a playing field. I mean, we can kind of touch that later versus like, so basically,
compared to spaces.
Compared to spaces, like
you go ahead, okay, go right into it.
The Void is more like a playground, I guess. Like, can I call it a playground, where it's like a?
I would say the Void has more depth as far as an experience
and interactivity.
Yeah. Yes. Very good.
Whereas spaces is you're kind of like. You're just really on a box.
You kind of get your feet wet.
Yeah.
I think like Mango's right. And for those of you who don't understand, I call him Mango because he's from Mango Kings, but I just ended up calling him Mango.
It just kind of stuck.
It just stuck now. That's my fault. But anyways, Mango does make a point where Void is more, it has more depth. Where Spaces, it's kind of like getting your feet wet. So it has its own audiences, I believe.
Yeah.
Like if I were gonna take my dad somewhere again, I'd take him to Spaces.
yeah, I can see that. I definitely see that one.
Because it's like very stationary.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that first part when you got the Spaces though. We have to walk across the little plank. Then
they had a little plank at the beginning, very similar to Void, but it was very like straightforward. Like, oh, there's a plank, and I was like, oh, okay, I know this is fake, but I actually still almost lost my balance. So don't let that fool you. You ran into me.
Yeah, I did. So again, we're not trying to do another spoiler alert, but when you get there, we're soldiers.
Yeah,
but
then you're supposed to sit. You're supposed to stand in front of this battle station.
Yeah, and then and then they transform you into like a T-100, T-1000 Terminator.
So I looked really skinny. Like really skinny.
I looked really skinny. That was weird.
Like we were like skinny and like we were like robotic little figures.
Yeah, and then when I ran into him, he's like, "Where'd you run into me?" I'm like, "Dude, you look super tiny."
He thought he could just kind of scoot past me, and then he just ran into my back. He's like, "Oh shit!"
He's very meaty. I'll say that. Versus when he was in the game, he was very meaty. Like, you know, I think we were standing there just like poking you. I'm like, dude, I think that's who you are.
Dude, the guy. Okay, you'll see this in the video. I have the video in the show notes, so I'll have it in the link. But remember when when the Void's pretty cool because they don't give you the gun in the beginning. I know you mentioned they give you they let you find the gun in the Void.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
I mean, I wouldn't say find. It's more like you get to a certain point.
You get to a certain point
in the scenario, and then you get the gun. But.
Yes, and if you guys want a few tips, if you're doing the experience for the first time, when you get to the guns, just be self-aware of what's going on. When we got the gun, when you shoot the gun off, you'll trigger the alarm, and you'll understand what the alarm does. And I'm sure you can assume what's gonna happen. But when you trigger the alarm, like basically your shit hits the fan. So for people who are more calm, you guys will kind of get a sense of what's going on. But when my dad again. He got the gun, and what happened was, what was it? He took the gun, and before because I turned around, I started giving the guns to like my brother, or no, to my wife. So it was me, my wife, my mom, and my dad. So I guess I started giving the guns to my wife and my mom and my dad. And the first thing my dad starts doing is just starts shooting it, and I'm like, damn it! And then he sets off the alarm. So, but the funny thing was when we got the guns at Spaces, the guy was like shooting us already.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't like we couldn't even see the guy. Like we had like 2 floating rifles coming at us, and they were shooting us.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
And I was like, okay.
Where do I grab this thing?
Okay. And then we grabbed it. I was like, okay, that's fine.
But what I do like about Spaces versus Void, since you're comparing them, is if you ever did the Void and you do the Stormtrooper one, I think we talked about like when we're eating, the gun isn't the same shape as you get.
Oh yeah, it messes with you.
Yeah, it messes with you. So like, what I'm trying to say is like what you physically see when you look down in the game with VR and all that stuff is totally different than what you're holding. So if you're gonna see, I guess like an M4 or something, and you can reach out this far, it looks like you can reach out that far, but in the game, there's like nothing there. Like your gun is a lot shorter, or it's different than what you're holding with.
Yeah.
But in Spaces, I think they were pretty accurate to whatever we were holding in the gun in Spaces.
It felt correct.
It felt correct. Like when I was holding it, I knew that there was like, here's a stock here, and there's like a button where my finger is and outside the trigger guard, and I was like, oh okay. And so when I looked down, it was actually there. That's as far as like accuracy behind the gun, because there was a counter on the gun that did go down.
Oh yeah, no.
That kind of annoyed me.
There was a counter. You know how like everyone plays like Halo or any first-person shooter.
Yeah.
You're used to looking at your ammo count, and if it goes below, let's say your max capacity of the mag is 40. If it goes to 39, oh, I gotta reload.
Yeah.
But like, so we were kind of looking at that. So we were shooting and seeing how low our mag count would go, and it wouldn't even go down. So
yeah,
it's like,
it kind of stays stagnant there.
So I could have used 2 guns. That would have been funner.
Yeah, well, that was another thing that threw us off too. So when they suited us
at Spaces,
they put on the battery packs, but what they call them, like
the
ammo pack. The ammo pack. So like, we got excited. We thought we were like, okay, we're gonna reload our guns somehow.
I thought they said you could use 2 guns. I'm like, that is so sick. I'm gonna use 2 rifles. And then when they were shooting us up, they're like, oh, here's your ammo pack. And I'm like, oh, ammo pack.
If I have to reload.
We have to reload. So then why am I gonna use 2 guns if I'm gonna fucking have to reload both of them at the once?
I'll put a gun down.
Yeah.
And then, you know.
But then it didn't really matter at the end. It just kept firing.
And firing.
We had unlimited bullets out.
No, it was recoil. That was a good part.
Yeah, that was
a little
cool.
recoil.
That was pretty cool. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there's recoil.
There was that part though. If we're talking about accuracy, in the arena part where what are they called? The T-800s or whatever.
The Terminator things.
Yeah, the Terminators. They were flanking us from the right. And you were shooting towards the satellite because they were coming from there.
Yeah.
And then they were behind us too. Like they're coming from, dude. Like for those of you watching this, they're coming from behind us, and then this way, and then like in front of us. So, what was going on? When they were flanking us to the right, I was like, okay, I'm gonna stack behind the cinder block, and like stack behind the cinder block and like shoot them and get cover. And the reason I was like that is because in Void, if you play Void, and if you're used to like shooting, first-person shooters, you're just used to shooting them without. You're not even thinking about taking cover. Like fuck cover. I'm playing a video game. I'm gonna shoot them. If I'll just find health pack, whatever. But in Void, when you're shooting at Stormtroopers and they shoot back, you get shocked. Like you get like a little pinch, like oh. Yeah. It's like laser tag. Feel good, and then pitch again. Oh, I need a cover. Yeah. I remember that. I remembered Void. Taking cover matters.
Yeah. I mean, hey, was it me?
Is that Matt singing?
I think so.
Yes.
Is it me, or was it really hard to find cover? Just the way, because they were shooting from in front of us and to the right of us.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I lost my point. Yeah, what I was saying about accuracy is that. So yeah, I was trying to find cover flanking the
Right
Terminators on the right side because I didn't want to get shocked again. Because I thought the vest did that. So I'm like,
Right.
oh, hell no, I'm not falling for that again. But then there's like these like benches and these blocks that you can put your foot on.
Mind you, they're like super tiny.
Yeah. And I'm like, in the VR world, I can see that, oh, okay, if I could put my foot on here and hang on to this, I can like maintain myself and get cover. But I stepped on the step and there was no step. So I was like, fucking like, oh no. Like, I fucking look like
Thank
an
God
idiot.
I didn't step on it. I was about to do the
Like an
same.
idiot didn't know how to walk. I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, damn it. So in spaces, the environment of the accuracy of the environment around you could be questionable.
That's fair.
Because compared to Void, remember when there was like a droid talking to you and I reached out to touch the
yeah,
Void?
we touched the droid.
Or the droid and it was like, oh my God.
He's right
like,
there.
The Void, the droid's right there. So that was pretty cool.
Like, speaking of cover, like, I don't know if you noticed it, but I had a really hard time trying to find cover. Because I noticed that there was in front of us and the side of us.
I think they did that on purpose.
So, like, so basically there's no cover.
There's no cover.
Yeah, because I was like, cool, I'm behind this block, so I can block on this side. Crap, I'm in the open on this side.
Because I was like, because there's a part in spaces where we had to like charge up the satellite. So I'm like, oh, it's going to be one of those where, because the guy's like, you got to hold down the satellite while it's getting charged.
Yeah,
and
thanks
I'm
for
like,
yelling at me. I didn't know what the hell we were doing at that moment.
I was like,
You hear in the
dude,
video.
I was like, cover my 6. Cover me. I need to charge this. And then it was just, they were just getting shot from everywhere.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a clusterfuck.
It really was. If you ever seen, was it Battle LA? That scene where they're on the rooftop.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like very, very close to that, I think.
Yeah. If you, I'll even, during this video, I'll even show clips of it. But for those of you who are listening to the podcast, just go into the show notes and you'll see what we're talking about. But going more over to the video, the one thing I really liked about Spaces that Void didn't do was they actually put your face on your avatar. Like, like I put my like, they call it the Austin smile, but like my smile, and it doesn't show your teeth. So it just showed my face without teeth with the mouth open and like smiling that way. And it showed Adrian just with a plain face.
I didn't know it was gonna be like that. I was like,
and they stuck it on these Terminators, and like that was us. Like these like human faces on Terminators. And halfway through the game, my face was blown in half. So it was just like half Terminator, half me, which is pretty funny. But that was a cool thing because that's what they did. They scanned our faces, and
so it's really more of that experience.
Yeah, that was all right.
And then they give you, what's nice too, they give you pictures. They gave us a picture, and then the highlight video.
Yeah, they gave us a picture. Like we didn't get them the Void, do we?
I don't think. Or you have to buy it.
Did we have to buy it?
I don't think I bought it. I mean, we took a picture outside with like the gear on, but not the same as like us actually playing the game.
Yeah, you don't have like right now we could share the clips of like us playing the Spaces game, which is really cool. Which is very shareable and people love it.
It's also more competitive.
Oh, because at the end they gave us like the high score.
The high scores. The Void, you don't get that too much, or it's more like just survive the thing, which is cool. But if you're into that competitiveness, like, oh, I'm gonna score like a lot more than you will. Yeah. Like we got 2,000 and like 1,700, and somehow somebody got like 20,000.
I don't know how someone can get 20,000.
He had 2 guns. He walked in with 2 guns.
I mean, well, shit, man. I wanted 2 guns. They could have told me because they heard me say, "Oh,
yeah, we wanted 2 guns." But
I'm not gonna get 2 guns if I have to reload it all the time.
Well, my thing was I didn't want to carry 2 guns if I had to wear 2 vests.
That's true.
Because I thought it was.
Yeah, but they didn't say anything to us.
Yeah, they're.
And well, I'm kind of being not fair because this is Spaces kind of like a soft opening. Yeah. And Void, they were like full throttle. And I think one thing I did note was that in the Void, we didn't have to have any foot sensors or hand sensors. Yeah,
that's one of the things I did like about Spaces. Because I was actually not thinking about it. It was their soft opening for Void because it was like opening weekend. Yeah, we had foot sensors and hand sensors.
For Void?
No, for Spaces.
Yeah.
And that kind of added to the experience. So, like, when you actually moved your hand, you can actually see your hand in the game. Like, even if you didn't have your gun on you.
You could see the hand in Void. You know that?
Did we?
That's what I was tripping about. In Void, I remember the guy specifically said, stick out your hand. And I'm like, there's no sensor on my hand. So then I stick on my hand. And I could see my hand. And I even flipped it over. And I even was closing, opening it. And it was closing and opening at the same time. I'm like, this is trippy. This is trippy as fuck.
Okay, it's been a while since I've gone there, but okay.
But
there's no sensors.
There wasn't sensors on Void.
But it still captured that.
It still captured that. That's what I was tripping about. Even me, like, walking forward, I can see.
With your feet, too?
Yeah, it was a trip. But yeah. What would you recommend? Mm-hmm. Void or Spaces? And pricing breakdown.
Pricing breakdown, I think, if I remember how much we got the Void for, I think they're very, very competitive. They're about that 20, 30-ish range.
Void?
I think Void was like the same price, right? It was like 20, 30?
I want to say 30 to 40.
30, 40. Okay, so like...
I want to say Void was high. I'll look it up.
Between the two, if it's your first time, I'd say the Void. If you have the money and the time, because I think it's always backed up and you're actually near a location. I think they're building one in SF soon, something like that.
Void, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well then.
If you're near one, I'd say go for that right now. But I think as what's it called, stages? Right, stages?
Spaces.
We're talking about this whole time. I'm like zoning out.
Spaces.
I think as Spaces matures, I think there's a lot of good potential in it. And just because I know there's multiple voids and I know there's multiple spaces. I don't know if this is this kind of gameplay where we're kind of stuck in a box is like exclusive to this one.
Yeah.
Because of spatial limitations.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still fun. Like, I think, okay, best way to put it, if you're planning to do it ahead of time with a bunch of friends, definitely go to Void, and you're near one.
Yeah.
But if it's one of those like, hey, what are you doing right now? I'm just kind of chilling, hanging out, want to find something to do last minute, then I'd definitely say go for Spaces.
I would agree with that. If you're gonna go with your friends,
and plan it out.
Plan it out. Go do the Void. There's several in SoCal. They're gonna plan to do some in NorCal. I think there's one in Orlando.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I went to when I was at
Disney World.
Yeah, when I was at Disney World in November. I remember they were talking about it. Oh, they had like a Wreck-It Ralph experience. I totally forgot to do that.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. But if you're one of those people who get very sensitive with motion, then I would start with Spaces first. Void, if you're one of those guys, or girls who are into like FPS and like hardcore, like you want to like really get a cool hyper reality experience, go to Void.
Yeah.
Unless they can change my mind. I mean, they invited us out for free, Spaces, so that was pretty cool. Can't complain with that. We got it for free, guys. So, I mean, they invited us out. We did it. So, fuck it.
They didn't sponsor this podcast
They
either.
did not sponsor this podcast.
So
but they can.
All these opinions are ours and
ours alone.
And they're not influenced by whatever they would have given us other than free admission.
Star Wars could sponsor us. I'm just saying.
I'll take that.
I
want an X-Wing.
I'll take it. X-Wing experience.
That would be dope.
Destroy the Death Star.
Yeah, like if you're an actual like fighter.
But then if you miss, then you spin out and it like spins you around.
I'd crash on purpose. I know what's gonna happen if I win.
It's like 10 times G-force. Ah!
I want to see how it feels like when I crash an X-Wing.
I want to throw up. I want to throw up in hyper reality. Any last comments, suggestions with the VR experience with Spaces and Void?
Those are really fun. Like the ones we went to are really fun because they're very interactive. I know there's some places in SoCal. I don't remember if it was IMAX or Dolby. It really is an arcade. In the Hollywood area, I think. And you can pick different games. Our friend was playing Office Simulator. Another one, Garucho was playing.
Didn't he like supersize the donuts?
Yeah, he supersized the donuts and like he did like the most random thing.
I gotta have Garucho on this podcast. He's just hilarious.
And the worst part was like I think there was maybe about 12 workers and he just dragged them all out and they're just watching him doing stupid crap.
This Garucho, he's a buddy of ours. He's a very funny guy. He just always thinks outside the box. And for what Mango told me is that he was doing some crazy weird shit on Office.
Office Simulator.
Office Simulator. That all 12 workers who were working the game stopped what they were doing and just watched what he was doing in Office Simulator. Because what did they say? They're like, this is the first time I've ever seen
this is the first time. I would
like
never
this.
thought of doing something like that. Like, why would you enlarge a donut to that size?
It was so stupid.
It was like the most dumb and random thing ever, but it was hilarious.
Oh, I gotta have him on.
But like, yeah, so yeah, that one. They also had an Aliens one where like we're on a helicopter, we jump off, and that was like a premium experience.
Oh, that was fun. Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, you said you and Dan did it.
I think it was me and Dan.
So you actually had to jump.
Well, I mean, you're sitting down.
Oh.
I mean, you're sitting down off like a seat that looks like a helicopter. You're maybe like 1.5 feet, so you do kind of jump. But it adds to the experience. I'd say check that out too if you're kind of new to it and you want to try different things, what you like. Yeah, again, and then I think the Void's a lot more physical. I feel.
Oh yeah.
So if you like, you can actually build up a sweat if you're getting into it, not only because of the heat in it, but
if you want a better workout, go to Void.
Void. Yeah.
Dead serious. Like, you get more cardio work. Spaces, we were just kind of like meandering around
in a box.
We were shooting each other.
In a box.
In the box.
Running into you. Well, I ran into you a bunch of times because you're meaty. So.
I was actually trying to get you to turn the satellite at the end.
I had no idea what the hell was going on. I was like, how are you turning the satellite? I'm just shooting things. I'm just randomly shooting the thing.
There's a thing in the satellite we had to do. I wonder how long they would have let us do that if we just never turned the satellite.
I don't know.
We would just milk it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind staying inside the firing range. That was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Like if they turned that firing range into like another arcade where you just kind of like Point Blank or Time Crisis where you're just like randomly shooting things.
That was pretty cool.
If they had that for game, I'd happily drop cash to play that game.
I think Spaces has a good thing going, but yeah, even as far as clarity wise, I felt Void was more clear than Spaces.
I think they need to hit that maturity level.
Yeah.
I feel they're still kind of new, still trying to figure out that streamline. But once they get that down, definitely like a worthy competitor competitor, I guess.
Yeah, if you're super newbie, go to Spaces. If you really want some crazy action, get a workout, a little bit of workout, go to Void. That Star Wars experience, we can't spoil the ending, but holy shit, that's all I could say.
If you know Star Wars, you expect it.
I was freaking the fuck out.
I was expecting. I was like, I know what's gonna happen.
Oh
Oh my god, I was right.
I was ready to rifle butt because that's how crazy it got.
If you could find the rifle butt.
Huh?
If you could find the rifle butt, you could do it.
All right, ladies and gents. Well, this is Coach Austin, joined by Mango.
Hello.
At Hyper Strength and Conditioning, where we record all the podcasts live in the gym. That's why you hear weights banging around, but it's all good in the hood because that's what we do. Thank you for joining. I can't even talk. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Nerd Out and Workout Podcast, where we nerd out, work out, and podcast, and level up your life.
And if you like what you're hearing, don't forget to like, comment, and to subscribe.
If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
It really helps the channel.
No, I'm dead serious. Like, rate us, subscribe to us. What is it? Can they alert on this podcast?
I don't. This is you.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, and then if you want to know when we drop new content, don't hit the notification bell.
Notification bell on this podcast. New episodes every week. We try to hit them out every Monday. So every Monday is a new episode. And yeah. All right, ladies and gents. We'll see you guys later. Talk to you later, guys. Peace. Bye.